Okay, so as advertised, I am going to show you how to work this problem algebraically. Now, this is a really good technique to know how to do, especially if you're planning on going on and doing like further math and stuff like that. It's good to know how to do this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to I'm going to copy this down, all right, and then we're going to mess around with this a little. Now, the first thing I thought about when I tried doing this is I thought, well, you know what? If I break this up like this, I can pull an x squared out of this, and then this becomes a quadratic, right? Then you get this. The problem is, though, it doesn't have clean roots. It gives you something that doesn't quite work out with how you'd want to do it. And additionally, I would need one of my factors to basically be, this, I'm guessing, something like that. So there's just no way, right? There's nothing you can multiply by 3 that's going to give you 11. That's not going to completely like give you a heart attack trying to figure it out. So that's not a really a good way of looking at it. And then the second method I thought is I said, well, all right, there's 5 terms. So where my mind goes is, okay, well, let's try breaking this up into like 3 and 2. So let's try it maybe this way, right? And I thought, okay, well, if we do that, then you can pull like a, x cubed, right, out, and then you get 2x minus 1. And you can see how you would get like 1/2 with one of this. So this is doable, but the problem is, right, is when you factor out like a negative, really, you reverse this, right? And just write it kind of like this, and then see if you can factor it. The problem with that is it can be done, but the numbers are so awful. Like you have negative 132 and you want to get to -4. So yeah, it can be done, right? But the numbers are just so terrible that it's kind of like, well, yeah, I don't think I really want to mess around with that. So this is what I would suggest, okay? Because we want one of them to be 2x minus 1, obviously, to match. So while this will get you there, I think, I don't know, I've never really tried to walk through, there is a much more clear-cut way, I think, to do it. And what that is recognize that if we take this term, and this term, and write this and treat this kind of as a quadratic, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's rewrite this so that these are all by each other, and then we have negative x to the third plus 4x. All right, and so this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, if I factor this one first by parts, right, and I take a negative x out, you get x squared minus 4, right? And so what I'm wondering is if I can factor something out of this and get this to be x squared minus 4. So the way you factor something when it's to the 4th power is you look at it and you say, well, let's say that let's make y equal to x squared. Just humor me for a second. Let's make y equal to x squared. All right, and so I'm going to replace this x to the 4th with a y and go 2y squared minus 11y plus 12, right? And now we have a pretty standard quadratic, right? Got a quadratic. We've got something that we should be able to work with, all right? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go, okay, well, let's take this and let's see if I can factor this. Now you might be saying, well, how are you going to do this? Well, I want one of these things to wind up being y squared or x squared minus 4. And I know my x squared is equal to y. So let's make one of these y minus 4. All right. And remember, I'm substituting it to keep it with the y thing. We'll change it back later, but that's what we're looking at. So if I can get one of these to be this, right, then maybe I can force this to make this happen. So, well, what would I have to multiply by y to get 2y? For the first term, well, I'd need 2y. And then look at your last term. You got 12, positive 12. Well, if you have negative 4, you'd need negative 3. So let's see if this works. Well, negative 3 times y is negative 3y. And 2y times negative 4 is negative 8y. Well, I get this, so that works. Negative 3 times negative 4 gives me my positive 12, and then 2y times y gives me 2y squared. So lo and behold, now what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this, substituting back in the x squared where y is. All right, so you go 2x squared minus 3, okay, times x squared minus 4 minus x times x squared minus 4. And so now I can do factoring by parts. All right, so I'm gonna treat this as one thing, and we're gonna pull that out. So we're gonna pull out our x squared minus 4, and then we're gonna put the leftovers in another thing. So you get the 2x squared minus 3, and then you get minus x. Okay, so I took this and put this in one parenthesis, and then this factored out of both, right? Well, now I can factor this. This is a difference of squares, so that gives you x minus 2 and x plus 2, right? And then this, first of all, let's rewrite this, just this part right here. Let's rewrite this so it's in standard form, so we get it like this. And then I'm pretty sure I can factor this, all right? So if I put 2 here, and then 1 there, and then 3, well, if I put the 3 here, it's going to be multiplying by this and giving me 6. So that's too big, right? I can't deal with that. But if I put it here, right, and then I put a 1, now I just got to figure out my signs because it's negative. So one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Well, I have negative x. So if we have 2x and 3x, the 3x has to be a little bigger. So we put negative, positive. And now we've factored this, all right? And so because I've factored this, now what I can do is I can set up my cases, right? So we have x minus 2 equals 0 is my first case, right? And that gives me x is equal to 2, right? You add 2 to both sides. Second case gives me x plus 2 is equal to 0, and that's going to give me the opposite, right? Negative 2. The third case gives me 2x minus 3 so equals 0, so let's add 3 and then divide both by 2, and you get 3/2, right? You get x is equal to 3/2, which is nice. And then the fourth case, x plus 1 equals 0, so x is equal to negative 1. And if you don't remember that, those were all the spots where this thing went through the graph. So we showed you how to find those by graphing it by using Desmos, right? And now we've done this with algebra. So just something for you to keep in your toolkit that you can use, and for those of you who are curious about kind of how this stuff works and everything, this video is for you. So I want you, if anything, to embrace the fact that I had to kind of mess around and fail a few times before I was able to find something that worked, right? So I hope that you don't get discouraged when you run into something that's not immediately obvious, right? Play around with it and see what you can do with it, right? And just be courageous. All right. So thanks for watching. There'll be I imagine a video on the homework solutions for a couple problems. So we will talk to you later.